Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about why you should be using mobile builds if you aren't already. Now I understand that it's a matter of preference and that you can choose whichever option that you feel most comfortable on, but there's a particular reason why I really believe that everyone should be on mobile builds and why I think it's really beneficial for the long term. Before we continue, I just want to clarify that when I say mobile builds, I'm talking about the low mesh builds on performance mode, not the high mesh builds, right? And high mesh builds is exactly what I'm trying to advise everyone against using. And there's several reasons why I really want everyone to switch over to mobile builds, and here they are. So the first reason I really believe in the fact that mobile builds should be used across a Fortnite is the fact that endgames are already laggy. If you ever found yourself in a stacked high-load solo cash script game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The input delay in those sorts of games is very hard to manage, and a particular reason why that is just because of the fact that there's so many players in close vicinity with each other, and if you really want to combat that and have the best chance possible to reduce your input delay, mobile builds can help with that, right? And another argument related to input delay with mobile builds is the fact that if you practice for the long term on lower input delay, the potential things that you could do with your mechanics will immediately get better because of the fact that you can perform certain moves or certain combinations way easier compared to when it was on high meshes, right? So it's really important that you change to mobile builds now and do your best to practice a whole bunch of new mechanics and try to push yourself mechanically to see if you can do certain things that you were not able to do before, right? The very simple example being a triple edit. Now, a triple edit may not be the most practical option, but this goes for any combination of mechanics, right? You can choose whatever you think is a practical combination of mechanics, right? A window full box is another example that you could immediately try to practice on low meshes. And you'll find, because of the fact that there's lower input delay with low meshes, you'll find that it's much easier to execute this combination. So yet another reason why I really believe in the fact that mobile builds should be used is the fact that you're going to have to practice understanding where players are around you without a visual confirmation. So what I mean by that is that on full build mobile builds, you're going to have a really hard time getting any sort of visual confirmation as to where people are. This can actually be seen as a good thing because then your audio, your ears are going to be able to pick up easier because you're going to have a practice. This is the only thing you can really rely on in terms of awareness, right? If you practice this for the long term, it's actually going to be better for you in solo endgames just because of the fact that you're going to be so used to picking things up in the audio sense, right? And it's really important to use audio in Fortnite. Imagine trying to play Fortnite without audio. It's very difficult. And if you can amplify this sense where you can, rely on your ears and get used to that fact a little bit more, it could be very beneficial for you in endgame, because in endgame it's not possible when you're rotating to look behind you so much, and audio cues are the only thing you can rely on, right? So if you practice with mobile builds, you'll find yourself actually getting more used to listening with audio because that's the only thing you can really pay attention to, right? If you're box fighting, it's very difficult on mobile builds to box fight unless you get used to it. I've played on mobile builds for several months now and I have no issue figuring out where my enemies are located. It's because I've gotten so used to the audio sense of it, and it's really important to understand that it's not something that will stay, right? So the first time you switch to mobile builds, you'll find that it's very difficult to be aware of surrounding area. However, I really believe in the fact that you will get used to it. You just have to stick with it long enough. Sented actually switched over to mobile builds and is still on mobile builds at this moment, and when he did switch over, he actually tweeted out that he didn't actually have a problem with awareness after he took a couple days, couple weeks to get used to mobile builds. So I really highly encourage you, if you're not on mobile builds already, we've already had a ton of people switch over. I really encourage you guys to do the same thing, just because of the fact that input delay is the huge factor in Fortnite competitive, especially when the games get really stacked and the input delay gets amplified. You really want to do anything you can to reduce that. There's a whole reason why everyone's tweaking their PC and doing all the things that they can to maintain the low input delay. So really encourage you guys to switch over. If this hasn't convinced you, please comment down below and tell me why you're hesitating on switching over, because I really believe that I can convince you guys. Your mechanics will see a difference if you stick with it long enough, and the awareness problem will definitely get fixed by itself. A lot of pros are on mobile builds and they don't have a problem with it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I really hope you guys take my advice. Peace.